Bonemachine! I've been to a lot of these. Cuervo, this is the coolest one. There's so much here, and I don't think anybody's ever been here. Nothing's picked through. You could like go through these. Whoever lived here is garbage and knickknacks all day. This is definitely the most intact kind of ghost town I've ever been to. This is sick. Cuervo, New Mexico.
In the late spring of 2026, we came into Cuervo, New Mexico from the east side. 22 miles from Montoya, our stop just before this. These towns you hit along Route 66 are funny. Some of them have a few buildings, some of them still have a few people living there. Then you hit a place like Tucumcari, which is like a sort of thriving city. Then you hit Montoya, which has virtually nothing, so you don't know what to expect. When we pulled into Cuervo, I was shocked by how many structures were still standing there. These sun-bleached, decayed adobe structures have been standing basically untouched, just attacked by the wind for 100 years. Cuervo, Spanish for crow. We didn't see a single one, but it is dry out here. They need rain bad. I have a feeling when it rains, the birds will come back, the bugs will come back out of the ground, and maybe this place will look like the oasis it once was. What you're seeing here is the last business in Cuervo. This is a still operating auto mechanic shop. Cuervo officially started in 1901, but there is evidence of habitation here going back thousands and thousands of years with the Indians, and then by the 1500s, the Spanish had at least crossed through here. There was evidence of active trading going on in the region between native and Spanish conquistadors back then. The official birth of this town started in 1901. That's when the Chicago, Rock Island, and Gulf Railroad laid tracks through the area. These are the same railroad companies that built every town basically that we've been stopping through. They laid the track down, they set up a man camp, and then they moved on. Post office was opened by 1902, and by 1910 the area was open to homesteaders, and an influx of ranchers and working families moved out here to the high desert to try to carve out a living.
We gotta walk into that thing.
This is the park here.
Yeah, park and we'll walk around. I want you to go flat tire. Cuervo, New Mexico, on Route 66.
This school you're seeing Thom Young walk up to is one of the two original schools in the town. It was built in the 1930s, only lasted 30 years, and by the early 60s it was closed down. You'll see when we get inside though, there's work going on, so I don't know if somebody bought it or they're gonna turn it into something, but they're definitely not letting it fall into total disrepair.
Old oven in here.
Wow.
Looks like it was built good at one time. I mean, I don't know.
There's something over there. Here? Oh, maybe it's just a bird. Looks like they started redoing it. The wires are all cut. There's like fresh wood.
Yeah. Weird.
They probably gave up though. Cuervo didn't have the same bad vibes that Montoya had, but look at that car door swing open like that. The whole soundtrack of the town was just wind rushing through sheet metal and the occasional rusty hinge being bent back and forth.
Cuervo technically isn't a ghost town because a few people still live up there by that mountain, and they do have a zip code. However, we didn't see a single person the whole time we were here, so I have no idea who this truck belonged to or why it was parked here. It was in great condition. I don't know if it was stolen and dumped off, but it was a little creepy. Right behind this truck, we have the prominent and enduring landmark of Cuervo, New Mexico, the Santo Niño de Atocha Catholic Church. Built in April of 1915, the church was constructed during a period of rapid growth in Cuervo. The church is a striking, well-crafted structure built entirely out of local red sandstone blocks.
I see the face of God. I see the face of God. I see the face of God when you're lying in bed next to me.
And what you're seeing me put a sticker in right now is the rectory. Just to the side of the church, the sidewalk connects the main structure to the old adobe house. This was where the traveling priests who came to serve the parish stayed.
I see the face of God when you're lying in bed next to me. Lying in bed.
The church was dedicated to Santo Niño de Atocha, a manifestation of the Christ child depicted as a tiny pilgrim carrying a basket of bread and a water gourd. In Hispanic tradition, and specifically within New Mexico, the Santo Niño is deeply revered as the patron saint of travelers, the abandoned, and those in severe danger. Giving Cuervo's identity as a critical stop for passing trains and later motorists on Route 66, naming the church after the patron saint of travelers was incredibly fitting, and something they could not have predicted when they named it 30 years earlier. Directly above the main entryway, a historic stone marker is carved with the names of the men responsible for its creation. The architecture reflects the traditional and enduring New Mexican style that these rural communities adapted. Even though the town's population has dwindled to fewer than 60 residents, the Santo Niño de Atocha Catholic Church still lives. While it is kept padlocked most of the time to protect it from vandalism, it was never decommissioned. The Archdiocese of Santa Fe still oversees the property, and the historic Redstone Church still hosts occasional services for the few resilient families remaining in the area and the nearby ranchers.
Packing up your presents for the Christmas season rush. I ain't got no tree this year. I ain't got too much. Forever in the back. Forever in the back. Forever in the back. Forever in the back. Blacking out and suicidal every single day. But this is not a cry for help. I know nuts on the way. Forever in the back. Forever in the back. Forever in the back. Forever in the back. Ever since we moved to Jersey,
This door just blew open.
things got wrong. I feel like I am living in a fucking Springsteen song.
I don't know, I felt like this door was watching me and then it did that. So you tell me. So what you're about to see right here is the Rock Island water tank. This historic tank was built for one purpose, to replenish the steam locomotives. And it's the only reason that Cuervo exists today. In the early 1900s, the locomotives ran entirely on steam. And to generate that steam, a train required massive, constant amounts of water. Far more water than it did coal or oil. Because water is incredibly heavy to carry, the trains couldn't haul enough of it for long journeys across the American Southwest. So the railroad companies had to establish water stops every 10 to 15 miles along the tracks. This is why we have Glen Rio, then Andy, then Montoya, then Tucumcari, and then a little further down the road we have Cuervo.
I've been to a lot of these. Cuervo, this is the coolest one. There's so much here, and I don't think anybody's ever been here. Nothing's picked through. You could like go through these. Whoever lived here is garbage and knickknacks all day. This is definitely the most intact kind of ghost town I've ever been to. This is sick. Cuervo, New Mexico. Old outhouse. I don't know who built this town, but this is a master stonemason. A master stonemason built this town. Look at that work. Look at that tile work. They didn't have unions back then. You had to learn from your grandfather and his grandfather before him. Master stonemasons. Always appreciate that kind of craftsmanship. It's always crazy to me when I'm in places like this because while it's fun for me to dig around, try to find these treasures, whole lives were lived, spent, reproduced, children, Christmases, and now they're gone. They've had to abandon their homes because there's no water, there's no jobs. And who are these people? And where do they go? And now they've left these temples behind for us to find. It always makes me a little sad. Man, we could spend all day here. The wind blowing makes everything so creepy. Why would this be private property? Security camera? We need more like this. This one kicked ass. It's the last one.
When the grass is so